Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Mask of the Rose, where today things have gone awry. Things have gone somewhat seriously awry for our dear friend Archibald, and I have to figure out how the hell we're gonna fix that. I really have no idea. Maybe we go talk to the devils today? It didn't seem like Mr. Pages was gonna be any help. We don't have anything in Recall the Past, do we? Oh, well, actually, we had that conversation with Harjit. I wonder if, yeah, here we go. Because that picture was familiar to us from somewhere in the sunlight. It wasn't the night of the fall. It was a little earlier, when we were still on the surface. Just a few days before. I saw a party of drunk men, most older and quite distinguished, but accompanied by a younger officer. He was the most drunk of all, but he kept talking about warning everyone. He was obsessed with some grotesque impending disaster. What disaster? Something to do with theft and darkness? I can't recall now. A conversation half overheard, half a street away. But the end is that the other men got tired of his insistences and his drunkenness. So they hoisted him under his arms and carried him, half resisting, into one of the houses across the street from Chapman's. That is, into a house that is no longer there. Well, that sounds mighty, I'm reluctant to trust the memory, is where I'm going. Like, I worry that we are, perhaps filling something in there that wasn't there, or you know how witness memory is. It can be very unreliable. Okay, so gosh, what do I want to do now? We could go stop in with the devils, although I don't actually have the option to like ask for a favor here. We might, when we arrive, be able to do so. We could go talk to Harjit. What I remember is vague, though. I don't know. If we go over here, I could press Archie to tell me how to continue publishing stuff. I guess we should probably go to the market, right? We have this stuff to figure out. We have the Hollow Mist thing, like. So we go back to Harjit with what I remembered at some point. I'd like to do one more morning before then and just see if we have the opportunity to remember anything else. Visit Ferret or Ivy to give them the amber. The way the request was worded to us, I'm reluctant to give it to Ferret. I think the implication was somebody who's like somewhat successful, right? And if Ferret's successful, I guess Ferret is successful in a way. Yeah, let's go to the market. We have lots to do at the market. Let's start with this. It was impressed upon us that this is perhaps a thing we should do as soon as possible. The risk of going to see Ivy hatless is that she may very well try to sell me a new one. I'm gonna put on my sort of like social visiting outfit, I think. Right, I'm certainly not going on formal business or anything. Then again, do we maybe wanna... This is like a little bit of shopkeeper solidarity, right? Maybe, yeah, maybe let's try this. It's a little scattershot, but I think it'll be okay. Certainly not a cohesive look. Winnie, it's good to see you. You look superb. I wish the rest of London had tasted as advanced as yours. She just likes that we have a cool hat on, I think. Um, this is such a weird. I don't know why we have this option so frequently. It's like, oh hey, nothing's murdered you. Fantastic. It's the surprise part that I think makes it seem like it's going to be a little bit insulting. Relief, I get. Relief totally makes sense. Anyway, straight to the point. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up that London might be merely enveloped in fog, although I can't imagine anyone actually believing it anyway. I'm here for a reason. Could you take this for a moment? What in the name of sanity? What is it? Is that perspiration or oil? Oh boy. So when it says be truthful about the amber, I do wish it was a little clearer. Like when it's are we like does truthful mean I have to explain to her about the rubbery men? Cuz that's truthful, but there's a lot of like levels of truth you could tell somebody. There's a lot of lies of omission that are available to us here, right? And if truthful means no omission at all, then I think it's probably a bad idea. I'm gonna dare her to touch it, I guess. I don't know that I necessarily want to give everything away, and I can't guarantee that that top option isn't give everything away. Why? Are you afraid? I fear very little, aside from bad hygiene. I'm sure she had a different voice when we met her. The ruin of my profession. And it looks like it wants to be held. Well, that's good enough for me, demanding little thing. I suppose it's no worse than a hat box full of sick, which I have been asked to handle before. I can heartily recommend self-employment. Feels warm. I assume not from your mitts. Curious piece. It feels like it's friendly somehow. Like I'm meant to be touching it. I wonder how it works. Here, take it back. I don't think I should tell her what I know about the rubbery caves. I don't think we're there yet. I'm gonna just thank her. Oh, thanks for your help. I've had worse requests. Though I do now have a powerful urge to wash my hands. Or wipe them upon the next demanding grande dame who sweeps in here. Was there anything else? Silence Falls. Can I buy one of those masks from you? Look into Ivy's goods for sale. Just out of curiosity here. I don't think any of these really fit any of our needs. Plus, I guess I don't actually know how expensive the mask is going to be, so it might not be wise to spend money anyway. I will, however, offer Ivy my friendship. Oh, confide in Ivy. So these are two different levels of friendship that we're angling at, right? How close do I want to get? I have a lot of respect for Ivy. I think that like our version of this character would have a lot of respect for Ivy. And we've come up in similar enough ways, so there's a lot. We have a lot in common. But I don't know what, like, confide what exactly. You can't just confide. You confide something. And there are definitely secrets I have that I should not be giving away. We'll just do friendship for the moment. Wow, I see you as one of my closest friends. What above that would have been confiding. Now there's a Porky. You don't see me as close. Porky, when she says Porky, she means a lie. It's a lie. That, again, is that Cockney rhyming slang. I've given you no call to think any such thing. Haven't been telling you my deepest, darkest. Haven't been crying on your shoulder all over all my woes. Haven't even touched you for a loan, which comes long before the other ones, most friendships I've seen. Haven't given one single sign. and you don't strike me as thick in the skull. So, ergo, consequently, in conclusion, you don't think we're close. Well, no, the conclusion there is that you don't think we're close. Might be you admire me. Think I'm a bit of a laugh. I wish you could dress as fine as I do. The hat's very good, I'm not gonna lie. Well... So she's right. I have to say, like, I'm having a little bit of a frustration here, and this is a frustration I have with a lot of modern narrative games, where like they try to give you these dialogue option choices that are like a rough summary or the general vibe of the thing you're going to say, rather than letting you pick the thing you're going to say. But they always do it in a quote unquote artful enough way that you click on something and then you're totally fucking like flat-footed by the wild shit your character actually says. Because I would not have clicked on that option if it had said, tell her that you think you're her closest friend. Right? Like, that's a crazy thing to say in this circumstance for all the reasons that she just listed. And I really wish that I had known ahead of time that that was what that option represented. Dear video game developers, all video game developers, I know every one of you is listening. Just put the actual words the character's going to say on the button. That's like a baseline. That is baseline what the functionality. Bananas. All right. Well, I enjoy her company a lot. We could... I'm a little worried about what admire her might turn out to mean. Like, if I click on this button, what kind of wild shit is our character going to jump to? Hell, who knows with this one? Well, you're better company than most. And I think you might find me the same. Most people might think I'm conceited to say so, but I know you like a bit of self-praise at the right moment. People that know who they are, I've got time for. I'll give you that. Pinky touch and we're friends, then. I don't make a great formality of it in the general way. And if anyone asks, I might say we aren't friends. Depending who's asking and the nature of the circumstances. You understand. I don't feel like that's the thing you needed to tell me. She keeps up the chatter for a good while longer, but she's pleased. I can tell she's pleased. She doesn't really make any great secret of it, and she does love to talk. Alright, and then this afternoon, can I go buy a Hollow Mist mask? I cannot. Well then, I could go talk to Harjit now. We can still go talk to Archie. I'm assuming when the Landaus are available again, the townhouse will have the exclamation point on it. I guess let's just return the amber, right? They seemed pretty amped to get this over with. I will change out of the apron. I don't think there's a lot of point in us going down there in our apron. Do we want to look more... I guess I don't really have a lot fancier. Nah, this is fine. We'll do it like this, like it's a normal social call. Apologies for the humming of the desk fan, but I definitely cannot do without it today. Happy Hallow, Miss Winnie. Hope you're as well as can be expected. Batachi-Khan burbles a greeting as well. Boy, the game just assumes that we are attracted to Barkajin. You know what? We got business here. There's something I wish to discuss. You remember the errand you gave me. If you have the ember with you, I suggest you return it. He might burst otherwise. Yeah, like... I do want to know more. And I have the leverage in this situation. I think we're gonna maybe press a little bit. And if I said the amber had been destroyed? Destroyed how? It melted. I left it by the fire and it melted away. Unlikely. Very well, I ate it. There's not enough food above and it looked like a fruit. We will give you another one and you can begin again. It is not a gem that cannot be copied. Our resources are not as fragile as that. But you did not eat it. Yeah, I mean, she knows that we're probing for information. Which means she could have just lied to us, right? Batachi-kan grasps it as one would a pine cone. And as we all know, there is a particular grip for pine cones. Batachi-kan makes a series of surprised honks. They suggest a new possibility has occurred. The tenacity of the merchant is remarkable, as is her doggedness in pursuit of her ambition. And yet there is a grubby mercenary quality to it I cannot approve. Still, it puts any doubts to rest. Commerce in this city is nascent. The locals subsist upon a crude barter economy. The time is not right. Batachi-kan emits a large, excitable warble. It indicates insistence. Ugh. Right this instance. That's probably supposed to be instant, huh? Forgive me. I need to evacuate the essences from the amber. I shall be back momentarily. Or presently, probably. He makes a series of burbling squeaks, escalating in pitch, volume, and duration. I am given to understand that he sees London as a great marketplace. He continues to make energetic pipings, the origins of which are best left unexamined. I get the sense that he believes if everything was for sale, then it follows that his status as an outsider is too. Interesting. He makes a percussive noise through the application of several tentacles into each other at studied intervals. I am to understand that through the means of a commercial enterprise, he would find his way into the hearts of Londoners. Boy, I sure have gotten good at understanding this guy. He hopes that I might assist him in securing such a license. There are few authorities in London who could furnish such a thing. That was less viscous than previous. I knew that termagant at the market was of unwholesome character. I heard warbling while I was gone. Has Batachi-kan made his proposal, then? He thinks it is time that he be introduced to one of the Khans, so that the lengthy process of rubbery emergence from the Warrens can begin. Yep, okay, he seems quite excited at that idea. The meaning is clear. This is not what he meant at all. Bakujin glances at me as though for support. We hoped, as the first person to encounter Batachi-kan in this city, that you would advocate for him with the Khan of Books. I'm gonna... At the risk of making this relationship tense and awkward, are you sure you caught the meaning of that? Stand closer to Barkton and ask again. I'm trying to fluster her with my feminine wiles. This is an interesting option here. So I think to some extent we have to try to like guess here what her motive is in misrepresenting the request. Is she misrepresenting the request because she misunderstood it herself? Or is she misrepresenting it because she wants to lead us astray? If it is the latter, this top option, where we offer her some kind of favor in response for her shooting straight with us, might work? Maybe. It feels like a long shot even then, and it's definitely not of use in the other case. So I'm just going to leave the question as it stands, I think. I hold the silence. Sometimes that does more than any request. Ah, and you have descended to the Amber Vats, have you? Whiled away long centuries commingling with the rubbery essences? Dreamt of vast and depthless seas, and seen what lingers there in Stygian slumber? No? Then I suggest you do not question my understanding of his speech again. The rubbery men wish to re-emerge. It is best that the process is orderly so as to minimize alarm, and given legal sanction by the Khans of the Bazaar. As the first human to encounter a rubbery man, your voice will lend weight to our argument. Interesting. Barkajin does not consider herself human. As I say, the emergence will take years, decades perhaps, in the deepest reaches. Patachi-kan makes an aggrieved honk. He need not wait. A shop of his own. Now. Once permission is granted, we can return to the rest. Establish communion, commingle essences, perhaps even re-establish the old vats. Patachi-kan makes a wheezy, deflated gurgle. He makes a forlorn second attempt. London is a market economy. One captures a market by finding a niche. What better niche than a shop in possession of a rubbery man? I mean, it's not really a niche in terms of, like, commerce, though. But Tachi-kan is eager to begin. It means we could both return to the deep places together. And prepare for the emergence, of course. They both look at me as though waiting for my response. I'm gonna go with... Maybe she's right. Maybe she's right and I am misunderstanding him. She knows better. But it does feel like she's kind of putting her own spin on... I do feel like... I feel like it's very weird to think that we can understand him better than she can. Given, you know, exactly the argument that she has made. That she's spent so much time and everything with him, and we've known him for like a couple of days, and we've spent a total of 10 minutes in his presence. That said, that still doesn't really help resolve the argument of, like, is she lying to us? I'm gonna... We might be able to say that we will do both things. We might be able to make both promises here. But if we can only make one, this is the one I care about more. Alright, I will help Patachi-kan open his shop. Ambassador to Rubbery Affairs. What a title. Patachi-kan makes a squeezed warble of delight. And leave the rubberies waiting below, while you fritter away time on this distraction. I hope you are satisfied with your new interpreter. Patachi-kan makes a consolatory burble. Evidently, my attempts to safeguard you and yours are no longer required. Surplus to requirements. I shall thank you for saving my life when the fourth city fell, and shall leave you to your new one with its no doubt more exciting prospects. Patachi-kan lets out an aggrieved whistling hoot. I'm gonna try to calm her down. Like, listen, we can all get what we want here. It doesn't have to be like this. Don't go over this. Why? You already have each other. I will not plead when I am not wanted. I trust we will not see each other again. London is a large place. I will not say goodbye. My breath has been wasted enough. Well, that's disappointing. But again, if I was only going to get to satisfy the requirements of one of them, I was picking Patachi-kan. Yeah, let's go change clothes before dinner. Don't need to be putting on airs at the table. Not that I think Horatio would mind at all. Okay, nothing interesting happens. We help clear the dishes. Easy enough. I'm a little worried, like, so there was that patch right after we started the game where they added 7 days to each of the first 2 seasons. And I'm a little worried that, like, they may not have had enough content to actually fill all that space. So we might see some dead zones here and there. The headlines today read: Severe destruction renders southwest of London impassable. Reports of foreign population. That's curious. Alright, let's see if we have the ability to remember anything else about Harjot's man. Nope, okay. No memories available. Well, that being the case, I think we can just go talk to Harjot, probably. Rachel is still not receiving guests. You know, it's pretty reasonable. Alright, let's tell Harjot everything we know about Lucian. I should probably dress a little bit, but I don't know, like... I don't know if we have an outfit that's really appropriate for this. Wearing it makes me more conscious of grim truths, but also better able to lend comfort, you know? Maybe this is a black coat kind of moment. And then... I don't know, the corsage feels a little bit too light. I don't think either of our hats... Well, you know, this is just like our general going out hat, and we still haven't found anything for our face yet. Alright, it's a weird look, but I'm into it. Winnie, it's good to see you. Nope, don't tell him about anything about the rubbery warrens that he doesn't already know. This is more than a social call. I tell Harjot the story of what I saw when Lucian was drunk. Tell me everything. Was he angry? Hurt? Did he strike anyone? Could you hear who it was he wanted to warn? I explain everything I can. Then he's beyond my help, beyond reach. Well, I guess that's an answer. It's an ending, at least. You remember things I've forgotten. The building might still be there if approached rightly. Sometimes one can find one's way around the fold. But it's hard to find places I never saw in the first place. Huh. Listen with maximum neutrality. From a certain point of view, I am one of Lucian's personal effects. A thing that should not be here if he did not exist. A thing that might be edited out of the Neath in time. And I think when I forget him, I will also vanish. I mean, it's a bit weird, but it's not like incomprehensible. People get very broken up over relationship stuff, right? I'm just gonna acknowledge. It's not incomprehensible. It feels a little dramatic, but we don't really know their history. Oh, of course. I dread the thought of being swept away. Would you cease to exist? Die? Or only go back to the surface? You know, there are stories in the newspaper, apocryphal or not, I don't know, of people who after a period in the Neath found themselves walking in some sunlit field above. Maybe I'd be in the Punjab again, back among my own people. They say Duleep Singh has gone back there. With London gone and the Queen fallen below, there was nothing to prevent him from returning to Lahore. Perhaps he is even now restoring our empire to its former state. So, you want to go back? A few months ago, I wanted nothing more. But my love for Lucian was also so imperative. If the cost of my homecoming was to forget him, I'm not sure I could have brought myself to do it. Yeah. Uh, discourage further confidences. Hey man, listen, in the future, keep your secrets to yourself, huh? Do I want to try humor here? I don't think Harjit has loved our dark humor in the past. Well, I'm glad you told me that. You're welcome. It does feel like there should have been an actual thank you in that line, given that we clicked on a thing that said thank Harjit for... Yeah, whatever, it's fine. Let him tell me whatever he likes while he walks his rounds. Let's see if we can get some other interesting tidbits of information. Accompany him around the block and we keep talking. By now I've learned the chief figures of Harjit's childhood. The aunts and uncles, brothers and sisters, and their functions in his life. He lays out the politics in which they lived, the princes and royal wives who they served. And he gives some passing sense of the larger and more distant game, the other princes of India, and the emissaries of the East India Company. This conversation occupies us for a full circuit of the neighborhood. Okay, we can afford one more errand today. And honestly, I don't know what it's going to be. I guess let's go visit the Devils and see if they have... we could also go see Mr. Pages, right? Let's do this. I'm hoping... we're definitely making some changes here. I'm hoping we'll be able to get a little bit of useful information about what to do about Archie out of this, but even if we don't, there could be a lot of value, right? These people are movers and shakers, so to speak. Alright, the fork has an alluring menace about it. Most likely, no one will expect me to exchange news of the day. I'm hoping that the Devils will see it as like a sign of allegiance to them. According to the clerk, you had an appointment with me. No appointment was on the schedule this morning. Is this mean? I'm hoping she'll take this. She'd probably take this the wrong way. This would probably get her upset. I'm going to turn this aside with humor. You'll have to forgive me. I was taught never to sign my name in Hal's appointment books. Fear not, I had no intention of wasting refreshments on the mortal. Our vintages are rarely appreciated as they deserve. I meant to ask you whether there's anything I can help you with. There is a short silence. I suppose you must have met with Mr. Pages and visited the ministry. While you were there, did you happen to see any of its maps and charts? There is a territorial matter in some dispute. Should I... I mean, she knows this. I don't feel like... The point of doing something like this would be to drive home that the thing she's asking me about is risky and maybe try to extract some payment or something. But I don't want... We could try to extract the use of, you know, her or her brother's, whoever the person she's living with is to her, like, legal assistance. So maybe it is a good idea to put on the pressure a little bit. Let's click on this and see where it goes. Maps? Those are forbidden now. For you, the laws only apply to you. The masters apply no such rules to themselves. How about this, then? Did you chance to see a piece of stone with writing on it? Writing that perhaps made your eyes water and your hair prickle, as though your scalp were about to catch fire. Well, I do not have the option to lie to her. I did see that, yes, on Mr. Page's desk. Magnificent. How large was it, would you say? Did it appear too hot to touch? Did the air ripple? Would you say that it was well guarded? Are there any mirrors in the room where it is kept? Did any other masters supervise it, or only Mr. Page's? I answer a few of her questions, but there are so many, and some are so strange that it is many minutes before we're done with the topic. I do not think I have told her everything she wants to know, but it's more than she expected from me. Okay. Hell rewards, service rendered. Wait here. She goes to the cupboard and produces an ingot of brass. When I touch it, I draw back in surprise. It's not so warm that it burns, but it's not comfortable to hold for long in bare fingers. There is a law above that all things must grow cold in time. This is Hell's reply. Is it getting hotter? No, but it will never go cold either. Theophilus would get use out of this, but perhaps only if he had no idea where it came from. So might Horatia, for that matter. No one speaks for a moment. Okay, well, I'm not going to flirt with Virginia. I was really hoping to get a different price out of her, but you know, this is still something. I make my excuses to be going. We have reached the end of my time. If at some future time you wish to return, you will not find the doors barred. Virginia and I should be friends, you know? A socialite of her caliber could be a useful resource. I grin. Alright. We're going to do as we normally do here. Okay, yep, and no conversation available. So we're about to we're gonna hit a season change here, right? I don't know if that's actually meaningful. It is the end of Confessions. This morning I wake to furious pounding on the front door. Rachel is already talking to Grizz and Horatia by the time I get downstairs. I'm Rachel Landau. I believe you know Archibald Reed, the doctor? Well enough to know he didn't kill anyone. I'm not certain of that, and my brother was certainly dead. But you were quick to make accusations. I've come to ask your help, and maybe to free your friend as well. So I'd best not let myself be drawn. You have a way of freeing Archie. I think David might not be... That is, I think he may not be dead anymore. I keep having dreams that David is awake in his coffin. I can barely close my eyes without thinking of it. If I don't dig him up and make sure, I'll never have any peace. So, you've come to us to help dig up your brother's coffin? Yes. I have a shovel in the basement, mostly for coal, but it'll do. Yeah, I don't think I need to ask why she didn't bring her servant. This is a thing she wants to keep the circle nice and tight on. I understand why. I don't reply. She's not speaking only to me, after all. Why us? You are Archie's friends, and you want his name cleared. So you have reason to try to find David alive, even if I mean nothing to you. She glances at me, as though she knows there is more between us than that, even if she doesn't choose to say so in front of everyone else. This feels shitty, so... The condition of the corpse might reveal something about the drug used. If I can get a good look at that, I'll have an easier time with the rest of the inquiry. Yeah, I'll help you. Thanks, mademoiselle. Also, if it turns out he's not dead, that'll reveal some things about the poison used, too. Here. There's only a fresh mound of earth. You're sure this is the one? It's not marked. I left these stones. Alright, well... I feel like looking at the three of them, yeah, alright, I'll dig. I'm not going to make any of you dig. Rachel takes her own turn with the shovel, but it needs a hand from each of us. I feel like we shouldn't make Horatia dig. I don't want to be like, she's so elderly she couldn't possibly help, but she's old enough that I feel like we shouldn't make her help. It's grim, slow work. When we've struck the bottom at last, Grizz climbs into the grave. Well, it's been a few days, Grizz calls up from below. David is still deceased. You're sure? Yeah. Do I have an ingenious way of checking for life? You could put a cold mirror under his nose and see if it fogs. I don't go about with a mirror on my person. She reaches up for a hand out. Well, he hasn't decayed much. There's no smell. But if I touch him, his skin is, well, not alive. Oh. I don't know. The fact that there's been little... I wonder if there's something to Rachel's dream and we're just, missing it. I am sorry. It's horrible to have a hope like this snatched away. No. I should have known better. Such a stupid thing, really. The dreams seemed so lifelike. Milton said once that the laws of life and death down here are not as they were above. So I thought, I don't know. Well, whatever he implied, your brother isn't returning. It's most likely a mistake. I believe Mr. Mirrors is to blame for sending dreams. Well, how about, it's late, we're all tired. We can go. I'm sorry. It was foolish of me to think there could be anything in it. Grizz and Winnie should see you back home safe. You don't need to do that. But I'd be grateful for the company. Well, you've had a shock. What a weird place for that conversation to terminate. Phoebe, we have guests. We aren't guests. Don't worry about refreshments. I had you digging up graves. The least I can do is offer a pot of tea. Phoebe! Probably asleep, the baggage. It's a harsh thing to call somebody. Whoa. Well then. Hello. I let myself in. You were dead. I was. And now you aren't. Not for the past couple of hours. It took a little time to return. And then you weren't here. I think more curiosity than fear, right? This is not like a total shock to us. Mr. Page has said that thing about murder rarely being permanent, and how is this possible? I was truly dead, and I have returned. The paths of life and death are not as they are on the surface. That is the only explanation I can find. The question of the grave remains alarming. There was a corpse there, and you don't much resemble it. Wait, did Grizz not know what David looked like? I didn't wake in my grave. I came to myself standing in the midst of London. At one moment I was crossing the last river, then the boatman put me back ashore. Huh. The last river? And there was a boat full of the dead, and the boatman carrying us all to the far shore. And I found myself there after the agonies of poisoning had ceased. I don't believe I have the pleasure of your acquaintance, Miss Smith. I'm a clerk at the Ministry of Accounting and Recounting. I was helping Miss Landau. We were trying to dig up your corpse. I dreamed you were alive. That you were trapped in there. I knew it might only be grief, but I dreamed it again and again, so vividly. We should make a list of what to do. I'll alert the ministry that death appears not to be going as usual. And someone needs to inform Harjot that Mr. Landau is not dead, and therefore Archie is not a murderer. Yeah, that's a fair point. Well, someone did murder me. I was poisoned. It was excruciating. He really was completely dead. But he isn't dead now, so therefore that is not a murder. Grizz, I don't think that's right, actually. Well, whoever did it might try again. And I can't be sure it wouldn't work. Believe me, I still very much want to know who the culprit was. I'd rather hoped you might know who did it. Yeah. I guess, our character uses humor as as a coping device for all kinds of situations. For centuries now, people have been wishing murder victims could speak. All sorts of stories about corpses extending a dead hand to point at the wrongdoer. And now we've got one. Yes, I wouldn't quite know where to point. I hardly ate anything that day, only the medicine that Archie had brought me. I wasn't feeling well from the beginning, so I stayed home in my room to read. There was quite a parade of visitors in the parlor I collect. A parade? I had Ivy Fitzclarret here working on a fitting. She's hardly a visitor, and we were not in the parlor for the most part, though she may have passed through. So David just told us what he consumed. This doesn't seem like a very wise question. This might reveal something, though. When Archie was with you, he didn't do anything strange? Nothing to make you think he had sinister intentions? No, his bedside manner was much the usual. He had moments of melancholy. He often spoke of being homesick. But otherwise, he only showed a concern to see that I was better. Although the flavor of the medicine that day was a trifle different. More like other ordinary medicines I'd had before. He said it was a change in the ingredients available. Well, now that's curious. And that he'd had to compound his own down here. It's a little troubling now that I've thought of it. More than a little? Well, I'm sure it's only a coincidence, and the meaning was just what Archie said it was. Yeah, that's definitely a worrying quote-unquote coincidence. So, Miss Fitzclarret was here on the last day. And Archie visited, we know that, as you blamed him for the poisoning. Trying not to be terribly arch as I say these things. Rachel and Phoebe were at home. And I believe I heard Milton's sticky tones through 3 sets of doors. Milton did pay a morning call. It was not long, and I was preoccupied with Ivy. I held a brief conversation with him and then excused myself. He spoke with Phoebe for a few minutes and then departed again, I believe. Interesting. Again, he just told us this, but I guess if it's on here and it doesn't cost us anything to ask. And you ate nothing, David. No, only Archie's medicine. No drinks. No tea with a bitter flavor and a gritty texture at the bottom of the cup? I would certainly have noticed. I thought as much. One always has the sense of poisoning victims being especially unobservant. We should go home and leave you to your conversation. I'm sure you have a lot to catch up on. I imagine there's a great deal to say at such a reunion. You will let Constable Singh know that the murder is no longer a murder? I wouldn't want the matter to be dropped. It would be the most grotesque miscarriage of justice to hang a man for murder when he did no such thing and his victim is still walking around London. I will tell Constable Singh. Gracious. When you came to us for help, you said it would help us free Archie. It's true I did. Then pray honor that commitment. That was a rash promise. It seemed reasonable and I needed help. Can you see any of our cousins agreeing to come down and take a turn with the shovel? No. And especially not the Landau cousins. Such a betrayal of tradition. But thank you, and give my thanks to Miss Smith as well. You were truly a great assistance in a terrible time. If it was Archie who gave the fatal dose, then something will have to be done. But of course we'll say it wasn't murder. You may say it wasn't. Okay, it was a complicated day. We have finished the season of confessions. Rachel Landau has sent a note of thanks. Wait a few days before paying a visit. There is no rule for how soon to visit the deceased after they return to life. He'll need to recover. Never mind. At least Archie will be home soon. Will he? Do we feel confident of that? Archie does not return. His place remains empty. Horatia cooks him a portion, but he never comes to eat it. After 4 days, Grizz tries to argue her out of doing it anymore, but she insists she can afford it thanks to me. What isn't eaten goes to hungry neighbors in the morning. And she, Horatia, doesn't welcome interference in how she runs the house. Since Judgment Day, every season is freshly alien. The season of confessions goes out, taking with it many helpful self-deceits. Yule brings the first full horror of the Neath. People stop pretending when an animal speaks that it was imagination. Dogs, it's true, still say very little. This is what passes for tact amongst dogs. What sweethearts. Cats have no such compunctions. On the rooftops, they trade in human secrets, and their side glances dare us to object, hypocritical gossips that we are. Well, that's unsettling. Okay, so some time has passed. 14 days remain in the season of Yule. Did somebody check on the prison ship? Like, do we know that Archie's not supposed to be there? It's as I explained to Horatia and to Lady Griselda. By the terms of the law, a murder was still committed. Yeah. Is he well? Prison is not kind. Well, so far as I can tell, Archie's happier on the Ungulate than he was before. He's a hero to the other prisoners. The trial'll still be held just before Christmas. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing the Landaus can do either. Miss Landau did send a letter to the court to explain her brother's change of circumstances. So, yeah. What exactly did you do? Well, I've spoken to everyone I could find. I woke an old judge from his bed in the middle of the night. He did not take to that kindly. I'm just gonna... It doesn't feel like pressing him on this is a good idea. We don't get anything out of it. What's he gonna do? Go back in time and try harder? Well, thank you for trying. It was all I could do. Archie will be tried. If we can account for his innocence, he may be freed. If we find evidence that someone else was involved, they may be added to the trial. If you find anything, if you have a good explanation for how it wasn't Archie, yeah. My plan to find someone powerful to intervene, I think, is sort of on its last legs. We have not done a great job of that. Look, you'll be the first to know. Thank you. Okay, provide hardship with the suspect. I'm going to do my best. I'll need to craft my theories the way Archie showed me. If I can't build a finished plan, I'll be able to come up with I'll at least be able to come up with some hypotheses. Crafting theories about an unknown motive or method will give me the right questions and let me get answers out of people. The more I learn, the more I'll be able to refine what I ask, or the accusations I'm ready to make. I'm always glad to visit Archie on the HMS Ungulate with you. Yeah, cool. Let him tell me whatever he likes. Archie's still a useful source of information, probably. It is only with all our preparation that he can begin to... It is only with all our preparation that he can begin to tell me the intricate business of the court. What festivals and marriage ceremonies they had, what gifts were given. And as he talks, I can almost smell the food. Not only the spices, but the ordinary things. The fresh bread. Alright, well, there's still time to run another errand. What a large amount of time spent not being able to do anything there. I think this seems like the time to call it for today. That didn't load as smoothly as I would like. Thank you all so much for watching. Things are moving pretty fast now. All of a sudden, there's a considerable amount of plot. A couple episodes in a row. Come back next time to see if the game can sustain that kind of pace, or if they might just give me a little bit of time to recover and maybe actually help somebody out. And we'll see you then.